World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Greetings and welcome to Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse on the Soul City Network and on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And I welcome you. This is our opening season. We just had our last show last week. We opened up and now we're ready to go to give you that checkup from the neck up to learn how finances work, how money works, and in addition to it, introduce you to individuals who are on that same mission and focusing in on bringing literacy to our community. That's our crusade. Now, many of you might be interested in getting some of the books because there's going to be some books mentioned today. But we also always have the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book. Whoops, wrong one up. Oh, I've got the... Okay, we got this cute. We're going to do this. We got plenty of books. So we have the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book. We have the How Money Works, which we had the author last week, Kim Schooler. And she with Sharon Lecter wrote the How Money Works for Women, Take Control or Lose It. And then we have the young people's book, we call it, which is for people 18 to 30. And this is How Money Works, The Next Generation, Act Now or Pay Later. Okay, so I'm thinking of all the things. And again, these books are quite simple. They're kind of like, almost like someone told me it's a comic book. If you'd like the book or any of the books, you have to reach out to me at anajenterprisesinc@gmail.com. That's ANAJ Enterprises Inc@gmail.com and say you'd like the book, but you have to provide us with an address because these are physical books. Now, if you'd like an ebook, we can do the same and you can get, but the ebook is a summary, not the full book. So it's important that you just describe what you want. We want you to get this book in your hands, and it's definitely free $99. Okay, so that means no cost. Only cost to you is read the book. It's important to read it and let us know what you got out of it. What does it mean to you? Um, and these are the things that are important when you're learning how money works. We also have, if you contact us, there is a financial literacy quiz that we have. And in that financial literacy quiz, you can figure out where you're at. Where are you at as far as your knowledge? No one else needs to know, but then you can take some of the classes that we have, because we have classes every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And you just tell us you want the link. Next week, I'll provide the link. But it will allow you to tap in and sit for 30 minutes. Okay, you can do that in your PJs. And you will get the opportunity to go through 5 classes. And then you can, after the classes, take the test again. See how you did. What did you learn? It's important that we become financially literate in these days, especially with what's going on. You know, the New York area, we have a new mayor coming on. Not sure exactly how things are going to work as far as funding all the ideas he has. We have an administration that is constantly impeding upon and changing our finances. And some of you I know have suffered because of some of the things that have happened within the Congress and the Senate. And so we have to learn to band together. We've made it through. I remember asking my mom when she was a child of the Depression, and I said, "How did you make it through the Depression?" And she said, "Girl, we just put a little bit more water in the soup pot." We have to get together. You got the pantries that are out here. It's a shame we have to go through this, but you got to join together and make a difference for yourself, your community, and your family. These are all the things that are so important to you for your future, because we not only need to survive, we need to live, and we can. And again, you always have the opportunity through Anaja Enterprises to have a free financial, and that's free also, a free financial analysis. We call it a discovery call. When you read the book, in the back of the book, it says that you can have a discovery call. The discovery call is almost like the GPS of your finances. It's where you're at and then where you'd like to be. Where would you like to go? And this time, we've got to learn how to dream. We need to dream again. Think about where we want. Don't feel where you're at, because where you are at, that's not a reality. It is where you'd like to go. We can make that a reality. So you've got a chance to share, and you've got people who honestly care about you. Also, as a note, I'm looking for more financial educators. And if you are a person that really wants to help people and learn while you are learning, you can do that. And if you're interested in that position, or maybe adding that to your side gig, it can be done. You again just reach out 646-375-2121, 646-375-2121, and we'll be glad to give you information on it. It's important in today's world that we become financially literate. It's a shame that 66% of individuals in this country don't even understand the basics of compound interest or understand why they need a budget. So join on the bandwagon. Access Wealth Nation is a place for the crusade for financial literacy. So today, we talked about the books that we offer, but as you notice, it started at like age 18, even though our How Money Works Stop Being a Sucker book can be read by a 12, 13-year-old. But there's someone that I'd love to introduce to this audience. And we've had her before as she was growing her business. And we're going to talk about how she got started. But she does address the children if they can, basically, if they can be read to. Her books work with that, and we will talk about those things today. So, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce my friend and co missionary. We're working on this mission and crusade, Erodita Anderson.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Woodhouse. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So happy to be here with you again.
Well, thank you so much for coming on Access Wealth Nation. You've got a lot of stuff going since the last time we met. And I want people to pay attention. Get your paper out, your notebook. Okay, you can also use your iPhone and your iPad, but you need to write. There's something about writing. But I think that this is a time that you've got to pay attention, especially because we're talking about generational wealth and legacies, and you can't do it if you don't know what you're doing as far as financial literacy. So Iridita, let's start off with, how did you get started with wanting to give financial literacy to children, to the young folks?
Well, thank you so much for asking. It is such an inspiring journey because I was actually inspired to do this work by my students. So, when I started working at a new high school, the kids were super sweet. We developed great relationships, and after school, they never wanted to go home. And they happened to turn my office into like a press and curl shop. They were doing nails in my office. And it got to the point where I just said, if you guys are going to stay in my office, we're going to talk about finances. We're going to make use of this time because, as an educator, I feel that if your students don't want to go home, they feel safe in your space, right? So I didn't want to put them out, but I was also going to make use of the time. And so I would literally log into my account so that they could see my loans, how much I owed, student debt. And I just realized how little they actually knew about financial literacy and how few of them that had conversations at home about basic financial literacy as well. So we kind of, they started asking questions and I kind of started teaching them lessons, and then it grew to a larger group of students. We had to move to a classroom. And then I said, well, if I am actually going to give them this information, maybe it should be a little more structured. And then I started developing curriculum. And by the time I noticed how much they were learning, I think my advice is that even when I'm doing something that's productive, something that's impactful, I feel like it's not enough.
Mhm.
And that is how I came up with my first word, the my savings in 12 envelope system. So I just combined, like 12 basic financial literacy topics, and I made that available for all families, for guardians, for students, for aunts. Like literally anyone can take that book and begin the conversation with youth about money management.
That is so awesome. And that's how I met you with the 12 envelopes. It was
Yes.
near and dear to my heart because no one ever really told me to put money in envelopes or do anything with envelopes. But I know when I got my first job, that's what I did, because back in those days, we had we would get a check, and then we would take the check to the bank and get the cash, and then we'd have to you know, disperse it for the bills and things. But instead, I would put them in envelopes. And of course, the key was savings, because I knew that that was the most important thing, plus learning how to invest. And so I was young. I think it was undergrad school. I hadn't even gone to college yet. I had just started summer job. And on top of it, I was working for a person who trained me how to do taxes. So
Mhm.
it was money coming in. And so when I saw your envelopes, I was like, oh, this brought back memories. And so just to give us a little synopsis of what that book does, do you have, yeah, there's a picture of the book itself. It's sold on Amazon also, correct?
So the My Savings in 12 Envelopes book
Yes.
is available. So this is the student planner,
Yeah, that's
which
different.
yes, that has the same 12 financial literacy topics. It explores entrepreneurship, creating a business. We also focus on post-secondary readiness with just some interview questions that students can respond to, and then kind of just, role play with someone at home or even on their own so that they're prepared for their first interview. This is available on Amazon. It was actually the number one new release when I first published it, so that is exciting. The My Savings in 12 Envelopes book is available on my website.
Okay.
And that basically has $1,000 savings challenge, a $5,000 savings challenge, and a $10,000 savings challenge because we encourage families and guardians to save along with our youth. And it also is composed of 12 sealable envelopes. And then
Now, what are they supposed to do with these envelopes? What's the deal with the envelope? Oh,
so the envelope system makes saving fun and it makes it tangible so they can follow the savings template and save the money in the envelopes and then track their savings as well. And the envelope system is also designed to kind of explore one fundamental financial literacy topic on a 30-day basis. So on the front, you'll find the fundamental financial literacy topic. And then on the back, it has application and research prompts to encourage personal reflection and research as well.
awesome. So with the 12 envelopes, that's more interactive, but you sort of have it where the parents can be involved also because the real truth is most people don't know how money works, so therefore we got to get to the adults as well as the children, but sometimes the children can bring the adults to the table. So
Yes.
with that, now you have, because you've expanded, you have the journal that you just had on this that was just on the screen. Now in that journal, does it also it addresses the 12 uh envelopes,
Topic.
right?
Yes. So the financial literacy workbook and student planner is a way for students to stay organized. So it has a weekly planner, a monthly planner section as well. And then there's also a section for them to set weekly goals, whether that is career driven, academic, or financial. And then it also has those same 12 financial literacy topics as well, along with the interview preparation and the entrepreneurship exploration as well, where they can kind of flush through ideas and start their own business.
Now what made you add in the interview part? Because
Yeah.
I love that idea, because so many times our
Mhm.
children don't know how to even go to an interview. I've seen, for example, it was I was consulting in a bank, and I saw this young lady come in for her interview. If that young lady didn't have at least every color of the rainbow in her hair. And I was like, I scooted over and I said, "You're here for an interview with the bank?" And she said, "Yes." And so I said, let me make a suggestion for you. And I sort of explained that she needed to change a little bit to get the job.
Mhm.
So it's a really good thing. So your book, as far as the journal is concerned, is that targeted for what age group?
So, it is very ironic because initially I published this for high school students. And when you asked why I decided to incorporate the interview preparation piece, it was again just based on student interactions. I had seniors at the time, and I mean, this young man was probably the top 5% of our class, like 90th percentile GPA. And
Mm-hmm.
he was preparing for a scholarship opportunity, a summer program that I recommended him for. And usually I try to just, do like a little quick mock interview with my students, just to see where they are, so that
Yeah.
they feel prepared. And even though it was me, we had a great relationship. He was spent lunch in my office frequently. He completely froze. And I was so surprised because he's always just like, so eloquent when he speaks, and he's, he's a little genius. Yet he could not verbalize his answers to these questions. And I realized that
Mm.
our students are at a disadvantage sometimes because they may not have had interview preparation, and they are more qualified or can be more qualified than another candidate, but that may not be conveyed in the interview just due to lack of preparation. So I said I wanted to tackle that, and it's actually a workshop that I've added
Mm.
to our availability as well, interview preparation.
Now you have these workshops. I wanted, since you tagged into that, the workshops, because I read the book, the journal book sort of ties into that work, the workshops, correct?
Yes, so the topics which I explore in the workbook is basically the blueprint of the workshops that I facilitate as well. So we explore everything from creating a budget, how to create an emergency fund, what's the 50/20/30 budgeting rule, right? To managing credit responsibly, how the 5 factors impact your credit score, and how that impacts your car loans and your interest rates, how you'll end up paying more interest for a car or on a credit card based on your credit scores. So these are all of the topics that we also explore in our most popular workshops as well.
Awesome. And how long are the workshops?
So the workshops can be tailored to school and organizational needs. Usually, depending on group size, workshops run from 45 minutes to about 60 minutes. I know you had asked before too, what's the age range for the books? And although I started out with just focusing on high school, I have been contacted to facilitate workshops and for organizations who are interested in purchasing my book for, grades 5, 6, 7, and 8, all the way through college. So, I just appreciate the response to my work from the community and from organizations because, it's just like a warm feeling for people to say, like, oh no, like we need this. Someone from Jack and Jill actually contacted me the other day. I'll be facilitating a workshop for sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, and
Awesome.
they will be utilizing the workbook as well. So that's really exciting.
And that's something that's so important because I noticed even with the Girl Scouts of America, they are, promoting financial literacy. The problem I have with that is that they're teaching the old school stuff, how to write a check. Kids don't write checks. Adults don't write checks. Those days are, I think, long gone. But they get their badge for financial literacy. That's one of the things that I'm sure you found out across the country is that people use the term financial literacy, but the key is they're not really teaching the basics, the things that people need to know to make it in this world. And then you have an extra component. Is this also inside the journal portion to become or focused on a little bit of entrepreneurship?
Yes, so that is actually in both of the works, both the My Saves in 12 envelopes and also the workbook, the financial literacy workbook as well. So students explore, like 4 to 6 steps, just flushing out ideas about how they can create their own business, just exploring things that they already do, things that they are passionate about, because we want them to turn their passion into purpose. And they kind of like flush through those ideas either independently in the workbook or with the help of a guardian, or in our workshops we do that together, where I kind of give the youth ideas like businesses they can start for under $100.
Mm, okay.
And then they flesh through the ideas in the workshop. And then we have the P2P pitch, where we have like judges, and then based on, who pitches, the judges decide who the winner will be. And then based on funding and availability, I usually give like a small grant to
Mm-hmm.
a winner. And it's always very inspiring, because I have facilitated workshops where in the beginning students just say like, "Oh, I don't have any ideas. I can't start a business." And then by the end of the workshop, those are the students who come up with the most incredible ideas. I mean, I am just blown away sometimes by how inspirational they are and how creative they are.
And that's the key is that, we believe in dreaming, bringing dreaming back. That's what Access Wealth Nation is really about, is don't say the can't, say the how can I. And so to dream, and once you open that brain to start to dream, it becomes so powerful because,
Yes.
I honestly believe that every one of us came to this earth with certain missions and certain tasks. And the
Yeah.
thing is that the unfortunate part is that someone stops us by the time we get to be 18. We don't dream anymore. And we do need that, because that's how the ideas are coming. And matter of fact, got a question for you regarding something that just popped in my head is, what's your take on AI?
So, the jury is still out. I was talking to one of my close friends this morning who is, he is very much into the music business and creating music. And, I heard about the AI artist who's on the charts now. So, I think it's like with everything, there's always pros and cons, right? So it certainly gives people an opportunity to do things a little differently. But, my heart just always goes out to, those artists, or, those jobs that AI will replace. So, we are in an ever evolving space with AI. And I just ask that people utilize it responsibly. And please, please make sure you fact check, because some
Mm.
responses you receive from AI sometimes, it is just like it's absolutely incorrect. And then there are times when we go and we consult with AI and we get the best responses, and it helps us learn more. So you have to just make sure you fact check and you double check and just use everything responsibly.
Yeah, I think there's, what's it, evolution that takes place.
Mhm.
So when the idea of, we were horse and buggy, and then someone came up with an idea to create a car, and some would have said, oh, the horse and buggy era would go away. No, it just sort of got complemented with the
Mhm.
car. And then from the car, we got into, the planes and the trains and, transportation across. I was traveling not too long ago, and I thought about, how many people were riding, had to take days to get from one side to the
Mhm.
Bronx, from the Bronx into Brooklyn.
Mhm.
you know and now we don't even think about it. So, I'm looking at AI. I'm hoping that it doesn't replace a lot of people. I guess last week we discussed the fact of AI and what's the potential in AI replacing, the world of financial literacy or financial advisors and educators. And my take was, there's something about the human touch when it
Mhm.
comes down to people's
Yeah.
money. Money is currency, and currency is energy. So that's my take on it. But, it is concerning because our young folks, especially since you're dealing with young people,
Yes.
and, from the time they're basically, they can say mama, dada, they got a cell phone in their hand playing games, and that is a concern. So,
Mhm.
in the respects of your journal, it is a physical paper journal. Do you see that at some point you would be digitalizing it, or you're going to keep it as paper?
Yeah, so, a few people have asked me about that, and it is something I have been looking into developing. The workbook itself, because it also has the planner component too, I could just be old school, but when it comes to like my planner piece, I feel like I need to like write down everything in my weekly planner for the monthly space as well. But I am considering and working on taking the 12 financial literacy topics and the entrepreneurship piece and making that into like a Kindle version. Yes.
It's kind of interesting because I agree with you. It's something about pen to paper,
Yes.
and that's an action that I think we've lost. I know whenever I'm out with folks who are part of the younger generation, it's always a question. They're like, "Well, just put it in your notes," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it's." I will probably remember it better if I write it down. And then we're in a society, you're in the school system, and I have some concerns because I know I had an intern who asked me with for permission to write to script to write this, in cursive writing. And it blew my mind because I was like, I thought everybody did that, but they're taking that, as I understand, out of the school, and therefore, where's that connection of
Mhm.
writing in that journal? I know years back, that's what, when I was coming up, that was the big thing. We used to have as little girls diaries so we could write our thoughts
Yes.
down, So don't give up the journal. Okay.
No,
We
I
just got to
won't.
teach them how to write again. That's
Yes.
important. Now you have a book launch taking place.
Yes.
And so can you tell us about, it's on November the 14th. I remember that part. And I will be coming to it. I thought I would have to be out of town because there is a major women's event in Georgia, but
Oh.
getting flights are quite interesting these days. I'm hoping, one way I can work something out. Everything can be done on Zoom. And, are you going to stream your book launching?
So at the moment, no, I am not, but I am excited that you will be able to join us. And I am also very excited about my book launch, and thank you for remembering. It will be on Friday, November 14th at the Harlem Business Alliance, which is right on 124th. And it is just right there in Harlem. So literally steps away from the 2 and the 3 train, ABCD, the 4 and the 5 train stops on 125th as well. And you can register by scanning the QR code. And even if you're uncertain if you can attend, I still recommend that people scan the QR code and register just so you can receive any updates about the event. It is from 4 to 7 p.m., but even if, you're only able to come by for as little as 5 minutes, I say please still come in and join us. I am so excited, and, it's something I have been wanting to do probably since before we even connected, and I was always just so nervous about hosting the event because, I don't necessarily know a lot of people, and I'm just like, "Oh, I don't wanna be in this space by myself and no one comes to my book launch." But eventually I said, I think that I really need to get this workbook out into the community, and I need more families, more educators, more aunts, uncles, grandparents to know about this book so that they can start having these conversations with youth about money management. So I had to remove myself out of it and my anxiety and my nervousness and say, there's a bigger picture, that I need to see. And so far, people are registering, so I'm excited.
Well, definitely, as I say to my audience, and many people watch this before, after it's live, and they just have to scan the QR code, or can they go also to your website? Is that another vehicle to register, or just the QR code?
Yes, you can visit my website as well to get more information.
Okay, yes. And so it's from 4 to 7. Now you
Yes.
said it's 275. Malcolm X is on the
Yes.
flyer. Okay, just making sure. And so the book launch, they'll get a chance to meet you.
Yes.
Also, in the registration, if I understand, they can purchase the book and then you will sign the book.
Yeah, so if you purchase the book in advance and you can email me the confirmation.
Yes.
So you can be an honored guest at the event. Please just send over your confirmation to me so we can make sure you are recognized at our event. And if you have any questions, you can also email me at p2psavings@gmail.com.
Awesome. Yes. And that's one of the things we spend a lot of time planning on, I say, bloated nothingness. Okay. When we need to support our community businesses, and especially when we're helping our children, if we don't get this together, our children will be, in a very bad position. In the next, by 2030, there is a great wealth transfer taking place, and it is $127 trillion that is transferring in wealth from, I guess it's the baby boomers, the silent
Mhm.
generation, those that are still alive, and then the baby boomers, and then to Gen X and all down the line. And if people don't know what to do with this money, they will wind up losing it all. For 2030, the biggest part is that $30 trillion of the money will be coming to women. So we got to get our little girls on board
Yes.
and get them to understand. So in the workshops, if you're interested, so let's say someone is listening and they're in a community center, a youth organization, the Girl Scouts. I'm thinking, they need more than what they got. Okay, I'll go on record for that. And so, if that's the case, how do they get an opportunity to sit or talk to you about bringing the workshops to their organization?
Yes, thank you so much for asking. So you can visit my website, power2plan.com, or you can send me an email at p2psavings@gmail.com. And you can just send an inquiry, and then someone will respond back to you to see exactly what you're looking for your organization, who you're looking to serve. We also facilitate parent engagement workshops as well. Our entrepreneurship workshop is fun with parents and students involved together, where they're working together to create businesses. So that's always fun. And then we also invite our participants and parents to our annual Youth Entrepreneurship Fair. The next fair will be on April 18th in 2026. So it's coming up quickly. And anyone who is interested in applying for that can also visit my website, or you can scan the QR code to get on board for our youth entrepreneurship fair. That is always so much fun. It's kind of turned into an annual event. So this would be year 3 for me, and I am excited. I'm looking forward to it. All of the students and the families always have such a great time, and they actually inspired me to host my second fair last year as well. And it seems like they want to do it more frequently, but it takes so much planning. So, I'm keeping it to once a year for now. But yes, if you are looking forward to joining us or sponsoring our youth, please feel free to contact me at any time.
I think that's awesome. So how I see here there is 15 tables available. And of course I attended this year. It was this year's event
Yes.
and I was just blown away. Uh, I'll tell the audience for sure. It is something to experience when you see these young people. And that's a question I have for you. Did you groom them to be able to present?
So some of the students did participate in my workshop. Some of the students are actual students, like from my school,
Oh,
and then some people just applied on the website as well. So, this year, well, next year rather, I am thinking about like trying to find ways to interact more with the participants, to, like prepare them a little more, like possibly, even get their skills going with like customer service and interact with customers. I mean, all of the young people did such an amazing job last year. If you remember, we were beyond capacity. I mean, at one point, my husband came over to me and said, "Is this a fire hazard?" Because there were just like people door to door. They kept leaving, they kept coming in, and it was just such an amazing event. I was
it
very, very happy with the
it
turnout.
was amazing, and I'm going to do a shout out to Josiah because Josiah's candles. I'm down. I got to get back to Josiah's candles, but he was so well presented, and as Josiah said that he is special, his candles are special because they're made with love. I thought it was
Yes.
just so beautiful. There was many of them there. There was a for juicing. The juices were phenomenal. There was crocheting.
Yes.
There was a overheated for the pillow. The to was I mean it just was so much there, and then there were cookie makers, and and there were siblings that were competing. It was really a phenomenal. I'm telling everyone, put that on your calendar
Yes.
because it is a very special event to experience, but also we must support our children and those that have the brilliance. And I think I have to commend you for promoting the entrepreneurial side because back in the days, we told the kids to go to school, get a good education,
Yes.
and they would then, ultimately get a good job and retire in 30 years. Okay, that does not sound exciting. But in addition to it, showing the entrepreneur world and what that really means and what that freedom means, is very important. So you should put April the 18th on your calendar. And on top of it, I have to add the little plug. Believe it or not, we came to the event and we also got fed. I was like,
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to Mana's restaurant who sponsored us. We had some great food that was excellent. And yes, please save the date for April 18th. We will have our young people there, and we want them to know that the community sees value in their ideas, in their products, and their services. And the best way to do that is by coming out. So, our location is still to be determined. I'm still looking for a space
Okay.
because although we were we were well accommodated to at the last space last year, we I had to close applications, and that was really, really depressing for me because we could not accommodate additional tables. And the tables that we had there were squeezed so tightly together, and we want to make sure that we can accommodate more tables if possible this year. So as soon as we have a space, I'm hoping to increase it from 15 tables to hopefully 50 tables, depending on the space that we find um, hosts in April. So
So
if
there
you know
should
the
be
space,
out there to
please
the
let me know.
audience to let them know that
Yes.
if you have a venue that you can donate,
Mhm.
because I have to say something about Miss Anderson. She has she believes in this. When you believe in what you do and you have a passion, sometimes you just got to put the skin in the game. And
Yes.
this young lady has put the skin in the game. If you saw the 12 envelope book, it was so impressive that one of my associates, James Wilkerson, had to buy it, had to get it. I got one, and I keep it on my desk so that my clients who come to talk about finance see it, that they can get one of those. I tell them, you can get the book. I'm not giving that book away, but you can get the book and then use it. Don't let it be a dust collector, because the information in it is necessary and it's put in a level that you can understand, and so more so your children will understand. I think instead of reading the bedtime stories, they should be reading the book.
Absolutely, yes, and I would also love to add, I forgot to mention that even the entrepreneurship fair was inspired by my students once again, because when I would speak to them about entrepreneurship and they would come up with these amazing ideas, they would kind of look to me to say, well, I have this idea, but I don't know where to go. Like, how do I get customers? How can I find people to purchase my products? And literally one day, my brain just went off and I said, I think I want to host a fair. And I think I put together the first fair in as little as probably like 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow.
And I was on an emotional roller coaster because I was at an all-time high when I came up with the idea. And then, I found a venue, but then I didn't really have many applications. And I said, oh my goodness, should I push the fair back? Am I trying to do this too soon? I don't have that many applications. Should I cancel the fair? And, my husband always keeps me sane. And he said, babe, don't worry, just keep going. The applications will come. And we ended up having, I think, like 15 to 20 tables at the first fair, like in
Hmm.
less than a month. So that was really incredible.
I think that what you're doing is a serious mission. We must take it to the next level, of course, always is that, because once we get them educated, they've got to start to implement. We have to have today's child and tomorrow's millionaires. And the
Yes.
way to get that done is that they learn how they can take their savings out of that 12 envelopes and do something with it. Either put it back in their businesses or take it to the next level and start to invest. A child's investing, at least not investing, but having some type of vehicle that they put away as little as $2 a day can
Hmm.
wind up being tomorrow's millionaire if they just keep consciousness and keep working on it. You know, this is such an important mission. And I'm glad that you include the parents. I know there were parents there at the expo that you did, that we did, which will be again April 18th next year. But that was awesome because the parents were standing there. But I love the fact that the parents did not take over. The
Yes.
parents stood back, but ever so often, nudged a little bit. I know there was, when I walked over to one of the tables, the young lady who did the heat
The
holder,
heating pad,
the
yes.
heating pad, yes. And you put it in the microwave. And her mother was like, I said, so what do you do? And she sort of backed up a little bit. And her mother was like, tell her, tell her. And that's the other thing that was so beautiful. We had the Rainbow Coalition there. We had children from all walks of life, all nationalities. I think about it, and this is my just take on it. When I was growing up, there was a song, You Have to Be Taught to Hate.
Mhm.
And it's true because these kids just loved on each other,
Yes.
and they didn't matter where they came from. They came with their entrepreneurs and sharing, and I thought that was so beautiful because our world is sometimes a little bit convoluted. So
Yeah.
this was such a wonderful experience. So now we've got a few things coming up for you so that we don't miss them.
Yes.
We have number one, the book itself. Get the book.
Yes.
Okay, so you get there's two books. There's the 12 envelopes, which isn't up. That's another book. Then you have the Power to Plan, Student Planner, and Financial Literacy Workbook. That's very interactive. And I got a question for you. Why did you make it black and white instead of like the other book was so colorful?
Yes. So, I was playing around with the color palette, and then once it kind of expanded to, like all the way up to college, I said I wanted to just have like a black and white so that it is kind of, appealable to all ages.
Mm-hmm.
So that the my 12 envelopes book is like green and yellow is fun. But sometimes, like college students, they say, oh, that's like so colorful. It's for little kids. And so it can kind of like grow with you. And I figured that it would just kind of like speak to students of all ages.
Well, that's a good thing. I was wondering because I know I have the book. I got the journal and I have the 12 um, envelopes. And I went through looked at the journal. The journal is doable because it's not intimidating. Some
Yes.
people look and they say, I can't, it's asking too much of me, but no. And the other thing is, you have the event on the 14th coming up, and people need to register for it and they need to purchase the book, show that they bought the book so that they can be in the special. You know how people love to be special.
Yes, if you would like to be an honored guest, but there will be workbooks available for purchase
Okay.
on the day of the book launch as well.
Good. That's excellent. And those of you who are not on WHCR, you can scan the barcode, or you can go to your website, which is P2P. Give it to me again.
Power, the number two plan, power2plan.com.
Okay, power2plan.com. So you need
Yes,
to go there too. It's the number one release on Amazon. This is how you move forward. When you have a passion, what's the word that George Lucas infamously said is that what you can do at 7 o'clock in the morning and still be doing it at 7 o'clock in the night and not stop, that's your passion. And then now you just got to find a way to make money with it so you can do it continuously. And you have definitely got the passion. And so also put on your calendars April the 18th,
yes,
2026, because that is the Youth Entrepreneurial expo, and you got to put that, we'll know when it comes, you know. Now for the contest, is that during the same time for the contest that you have the entrepreneur and they have they get may win a stipend or something? How does that work? I think I missed that.
So you said the contest?
Yeah, you said that the kids get a chance to
Oh, yeah. So
and they
that's
get
usually
judged.
during the workshops.
Oh, so it's
So
during
after
each
they
workshop?
So that's like separate if it's like at an organization or a school. So after they kind of flush through their ideas of creating their business, towards the end of the workshop, the students will present or pitch their ideas to the judges. And then the judges kind of deliberate and then choose a winner. And then we give them a grant, to just kind of put towards their business ideas. However,
Hmm.
for the fair this year, I am working to try to be able to provide, some awards to our participants this year as well. So if you
Okay.
are interested in donating to support our young entrepreneurs, you can contact me via email at p2psavings@gmail.com or visit my website power2plan.com.
Got it. That's perfect. Yeah, that's a wonder. I thought it was a separate entity, but it's part of the workshop.
Yes, yes, yes.
Awesome. I'm glad that's cleared. Well, it has been a joy. I'm looking forward to working with you because I'm all about financial literacy. And so we'll continue on our journey together and see how we can keep going with this. And all of you who hear this, make your way to the book launch. You
Yes.
won't regret it. And therefore, you're supporting something that will change our community. As I have a tagline, change your literacy, you change your life. So,
Yeah.
Erodita, thank you so much for being on Access Wealth Nation. I look forward to hearing how well the event is because I'll be there and I'll bring some folks with me,
Oh,
to see what's going on and to support you because this is what we have to do as a community. And so thank you again for being on Access Wealth Nation.
oh, well, thank you so much for having me, Dr. Woodhouse, and thank you for all of your support. I mean, just having you there to ask questions and to be a listening ear and for your guidance, it is just absolutely priceless. So I am just so honored to be here with you this evening, and I just appreciate your support. Words can't express my appreciation.
Fantastic. So we're going to keep on promoting and talking. And I'll send it to my email address for everybody. Come out, those that are in New York or in New Jersey. And we're going to make it happen, girl. I am so happy and proud of you. Take
Thank you.
care and have a good night.
Have a good night. Bye, guys.